From the Opubco studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our 5 and 5 segment. We've got 5 topics, about a minute each for 5 minutes. One bell. Let's get right to it. What about this one, Barry? On the hardwood, the Big 12 champion will be?
The Kansas Jayhawks for the fifth straight year outright. The Wednesday night victory, double overtime. They beat Oklahoma State. Cowboys were going to be in the catbird seat if they won, but instead it's Kansas. So I know you've seen it before, but tip your cap to the Jayhawks. I think they're going to win it again.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been able to say Oklahoma State, but after the game Wednesday night, you just don't see Kansas losing again now that they've sort of regained their traction. I just don't think they're going to relinquish that title, and it'll be the 9th that they've either won outright or shared. A remarkable run for Bill Self and his team. But, man, it would have been nice to have somebody else win that title. What about this question, Barry? The Big 12 Player of the Year will be. Finish that sentence.
I think this is one where OSU gets him. I think it's going to be Marcus Smart. And we saw even in victory last night, Kansas's freshman Ben McLemore, not much of a factor in the game. He had an off night. Marcus Smart had an off night too, 2 of 14, but he was a huge factor in the game. Still getting to the rim, still facilitating the offense, still being a catalyst for all things Cowboy. I think Marcus Smart will be the Big 12 Player of the Year.
Yeah, I like Marcus Smart's chances too. Had Ben McLemore scored a bunch of points and had a great night, and Marcus Smart gone 2 of a lot against the Jayhawks, I would have thought Ben McLemore is probably the guy. But now I think the biggest competition for Marcus Smart might actually be Jeff Withey. If you like defense, if you think he's the guy that really determines things for the Jayhawks, you might see some votes for him. But I think Marcus Smart's going to get a lot of consideration, and he sure should. He's had a heck of a year. All right, Barry, what about this one? A Thunder question. Over/under. It's 59. Thunder win total. You going over or you going under?
I'm going to go over 59. I think the Thunder's on pace for 59 point something, right at 60 or so. I think they're going to get into the 60s. I thought they would get well into the 60s before the trade of James Harden. I dialed that back into the low 60s. I still think they'll get there. They're going through a slump. I think they'll play their way out of that. I think they'll be motivated down the stretch. I think they get to 60, 61.
I think I picked them to win 65 before the season started, and that was before the Harden trade. So, yeah, I'm still going to go over, but I think they might squeak over 59. I think they might get 60, but I don't see them they're not going above 61 or 2. I can tell you that. That would be a nice mark for this team. They're at 39 heading into the game against Minnesota on Friday night, with 29 games to play. So if they finish the rest of this season at 20-9 or 21-8, you got to like how that finishes out for this team. I say over, but just barely. All right, our fun question of the week, Barry. Who's the person you'd like to ban? It sounds like Lil Wayne has said that the NBA has told him he's banned. I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not, but who you want to ban?
Well, Lil Wayne got banned, and he doesn't even wear a cowboy hat. I want to ban all the people who come to a basketball game and wear a cowboy hat. Saw a guy sitting in the front row the other night with a cowboy hat on, which is no big deal unless you're sitting behind the guy and you've paid primo dollars for that seat and you can't see a thing because of the Stetson in your way. Saw a cowboy hat. Saw a friend of mine actually sitting in the crowd at Gallagher Iba Wednesday night with a cowboy hat on. Listen, people, have some consideration. There are people behind you wanting to watch the game. Park the cowboy hat at the house.
I'm going to go with another ban involving NBA fans, primarily NBA fans. You might see this a little in college ball, but I want to ban anybody that wears a jersey and wears it without anything underneath. That just weirds me out.
I'm with you on that.
I don't know if it means a long sleeve t-shirt, a short sleeve t-shirt, but if you're wearing your jersey like you're going to play, banned. All right, lastly, Barry, this one about the NFL Combine. Who's the local player with the most to prove as the NFL Combine gets going?
Well, I think it's Landry Jones, for crying out loud. He's talked about, as recently or as long ago as last year as a first-round draft pick. He just keeps sliding down and down and down the board. If they postpone the draft until June, he might not even get picked. He might be a free agent. We know Landry's a solid quarterback. We know he's got some shortcomings, but I think he needs to get to the Combine and show off everything he can. His poise, his intelligence, his arm. Get to Indianapolis and show off what you got, Landry, and try to start moving back up that board, which quarterbacks tend to do as we get closer to the draft. You don't have to slide into the third round. You can get back up into a more premium position.
Well, I agree. I think Landry Jones is the guy with the most to prove. But I tell you what, anybody that leaves early, Tony Jefferson and Kenny Stills, I think those guys have a lot to prove too. I think to get out there and to really show that they made the right decision, that they should be drafted highly. You don't want to slide into a third day situation. I mean, that's hard when you're drafted in those late rounds to then get a spot on a team. So I think those guys need to make some serious hay too. But Landry Jones, obviously, he's listed probably third round right now. He needs to make some moves and do some damage at the NFL Combine. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.